Newton Carneiro Affonso da Costa, born 16 September 1929 in Curitiba, Brazil, is a Brazilian mathematician, logician, and philosopher. He studied engineering and mathematics at the Federal University of Paraná in Curitiba, and the title of his 1961 Ph.D. dissertation was Topological Spaces and Continuous Functions. Work. Paraconsistency. Da Costa's international recognition came especially through his work on paraconsistent logic and its application to various fields such as philosophy, law, computing, and artificial intelligence. He is one of the founders of this non-classical logic. In addition, he constructed the theory of quasi-truth that constitutes a generalization of Alfred Tarski's theory of truth, and applied it to the foundations of science. Other fields. Foundations of physics. The scope of his research also includes model theory, generalized Galois theory, axiomatic foundations of quantum theory and relativity, complexity theory, and abstract logics. Da Costa has significantly contributed to the philosophy of logic, paraconsistent modal logics, ontology, and philosophy of science. He served as the president of the Brazilian Association of Logic and the director of the Institute of Mathematics at the University of São Paulo. He received many awards and held numerous visiting scholarships at universities and centers of research in all continents. Da Costa and physicist Francisco Antonio Doria axiomatized large portions of classical physics with the help of Patrick Supper's predicates. They used that technique to show that for the axiomatized version of dynamical systems theory, chaotic properties of those systems are undecidable and Gödel incomplete. That is, a sentence like X is chaotic is undecidable within that axiomatics. They later exhibited similar results for systems in other areas, such as mathematical economics. Da Costa believes that the significant progress in the field of logic will give rise to new, fundamental developments in computing and technology, especially in connection with non-classical logics and their applications. Variable binding term operators. Da Costa is co-discoverer of the truth set principle and co-creator of the classical logic of variable binding term operators, both with John Corcoran. He is also co-author with Chris Mortensen of the definitive pre-1980 history of variable binding term operators in classical first-order logic. Notes on the theory of variable binding term operators. History and Philosophy of Logic. Volume 4, 1983, 63-72. P equals NP. Together with Francisco Antonio Doria, Da Costa has published 2 papers with conditional relative proofs of the consistency of P equals NP, with the usual set theoretic axioms ZFC. The results they obtain are similar to the results of Demieux and Lipton. Consistency of P equals NP with fragments of arithmetic, and those of Sazonov and Mate. Conditional proofs of the consistency of P equals NP with strong systems. Basically, Da Costa and Doria define a formal sentence, P equals NP, which is the same as P equals NP in the standard model for arithmetic. However, because P equals NP, by its very definition includes a disjunct that is not refutable in ZFC, P equals NP is not refutable in ZFC. So ZFC plus P equals NP is consistent, assuming that ZFC is. The paper then continues by an informal proof of the implication. If ZFC plus P equals NP is consistent, then so is ZFC plus P equals NP. However, a review by Ralph Schindler points out that this last step is too short and contains a gap. A recently published 2006 clarification by the authors shows that their intent was to exhibit a conditional result that was dependent on what they call a naively plausible condition. The 2003 conditional result can be reformulated, according to Da Costa and Doria 2006, in press, as if ZFC plus P equals NP is omega consistent, then ZFC plus P equals NP is consistent. So far no formal argument has been constructed to show that ZFC plus P equals NP is omega consistent. In his reviews for Mathematical Reviews of the Da Costa, Doria papers on P equals NP, logician Andreas Blass states that the absence of rigor led to numerous errors and ambiguities. Quote, he also rejects Da Costa's naively plausible condition, as this assumption is based partly on the possible non-totality of a certain function, f, and partly on an axiom equivalent to the totality of f. Selected publications, articles and lectures. N. C. A. Da Costa. Sistemas forma inconsistentes. Curitiba, Brazil. Universidade Federal de Paraná. 1963. N. C. A. Da Costa. Review of the article by Corcoran, Hatcher, and Herring on variable binding term operators. Zentralblatt für Mathematik. Volume 247. pp. 8-9. 1973. N. C. A. Da Costa. On the Theory of Inconsistent Formal Systems. Notre Dame Journal of Formal Logic 1974. 15. 497-510. N. C. A. Da Costa. With L. Dubakajtis. On Jaskowski's Discursive Logic. Non-Classical Logics. Model Theory and Computability. North Holland Publishing Company. Amsterdam. pp. 37-56. 1977. N. C. A. Da Costa. With C. Mortensen. Notes on the Theory of Variable Binding Term Operators. History and Philosophy of Logic. Volume 4. pp. 63-72. 1983. N. C. A. Da Costa. Pragmatic Probability. Erkenntnis 1986. 25. 141-162. N. C. A. Da Costa. With Walter Carneiro. Paraconsistent Deontic Logics. Philosophia, the Philos. Quarterly of Israel. Volume 16. Numbers Chapter 3 and 4. pp. 293-305. 1988. N. C. A. Da Costa. With V. S. Subramanian. Paraconsistent logic as a formalism for reasoning about inconsistent knowledge bases. Artificial Intelligence in Medicine 1989. 1. 167-174. N. C. A. Da Costa. With F. A. Doria. Undecidability and Incompleteness in Classical Mechanics. International J. Theoretical Physics. Volume 30. 1991. 1041-1073. N. C. A. Da Costa. Paraconsistent Logic. In Stanislaw Jaskowski Memorial Symposium. pp. 29-35. Department of Logic. Nicholas Copernicus University of Turin. 1998. N. C. A. Da Costa. With O. Bueno and S. French. Is there a Zande Logic? History and Philosophy of Logic 1998. 1941-54. N. C. A. Da Costa. With O. Bueno and A. G. Volkov. Outline of a Paraconsistent Category Theory. In P. Weingartner. ed. Alternative Logics. The Sciences Need Them. Berlin. Springer Verlag. 2004. pp. 95-114. N. C. A. Da Costa, with F. A. Doria. Consequences of an exotic definition for P equals NP. Applied Mathematics and Computation. Volume 145. 2003. 655 to 665. And addendum to backquote consequences. Single quote. Applied Mathematics and Computation. Volume 172. 2006. 1364 to 1367. N. C. A. Da Costa, with F. A. Doria. Computing the Future. In Computability, Complexity and Constructivity in Economic Analysis. Ed. K. V. Bellupilli. Blackwell. 2005. N. C. A. Da Costa, with F. A. Doria. Some Thoughts on Hypercomputation. Applied Mathematics and Computation. In Press. 2006. Books. N. C. A. Da Costa. Logica Indutiva e Probabilidade. Husatec DUSP. 2A. ed. São Paulo. 1993. N. C. A. Da Costa. Logique classique et non classique. Paris. Masson. 1997. N. C. A. Da Costa. O Conhecimento Científico. São Paulo. Discurso Editorial. 2A. ed. 1999. N. C. A. Da Costa. J. M. Abe. J. I. Da Silva Filho. A. C. Moralo and C. F. S. Light Lógica para Consistente Aplicada. São Paulo. Atlas. 1999. N. C. A. Da Costa and S. French. Science and Partial Truth. A Unitary Approach to Models and Scientific Reasoning. Oxford Studies in Philosophy of Science. Oxford University Press. 2003. Essays on N. C. A. Da Costa. Nicola Grana. Sulla teoria delle valutazioni di N. C. A. Da Costa. Naples. Liguori Editor. 1990. pp. 75. Biography at Unicamp. In Portuguese. Newton da Costa. Pensador da Contradição. Newton da Costa. Ao. A Matemática como Arte. Talk on the Foundations of Physics. Videos in Portuguese. Carneiro. W. Carneiro. M. E. E. Marcos. J. Logics of Formal Inconsistency. Handbook of Philosophical Logic. 2nd edition. Volume 14. Pages 15 to 107. Springer Verlag. Google Scholar Profile.